So you're looking to add some squats to your fitness routine. Today I'm going to help you to make sure that you're doing it correctly, to build muscle, to lose weight, and to do it safely. We're going to be going over how to do squats without weights. If you do them without weights, that means that you can do this movement anywhere, so no excuses. All right, so with your squat, we got our feet about shoulder width apart. That's our first thing that we need to perfect is our stance. Now, there's a kind of a common misconception that we need to go wider than that and that our toes need to be slightly out. I want to make sure that you're about shoulder width, toes facing forward, okay? From there, we're going to push our hips back like you're sitting in a chair. So as I push my hips back, I want to make sure that my knee doesn't come over the front of my toe. Now, if you're pushing your hips back and you're focusing on that, that will eliminate that factor. But I'm going to show you from the side as well so you can get a good view of that. If I'm pushing my hips back, you'll notice that my knees stay right in line with my foot. If I'm not pushing back and I'm just bending at the knees, okay, then I'm putting all of my weight in my toes and really putting a lot of strain on my posterior chain here, really pulling through those calves. And I'm not getting the benefits that you can really get from a squat by building up those glutes. Okay, so starting over, bringing my feet about shoulder width apart, pushing those hips back and coming down. This is another misconception that people throw out there about squats. They say you need to go ass to the grass. Like, okay, so let's throw that out of there. So as I come down and I push my hips back, I don't want to go much lower than this. As you come down and you align your tailbone with your knees, if you go any lower than that, then your pelvis starts to tilt. And that can start to bring in some more injury factors there that we want to avoid altogether. So coming down into that squat, again, my tailbone is now level with my knees, and that's a good finishing point right there at the bottom of my squat. As I'm at the bottom, again, I'm going to be heavy in my heels, so I'm transferring all the weight back into my heels as I come down, and you should be able to wiggle your toes at the bottom of this squat if you're doing it correctly. If we did what I talked about before, by pushing those knees forward, now all of my weight's in my toes, and there's no way I can wiggle my toes because all my weight's right there. Okay, so pushing it back, keeping that weight in those heels. And then from there, we want to make sure that our core is aligned with our body as well. So anytime we're doing a big compound lift, we need to make sure that everything is aligned from my ear to my shoulder to my hips to my ankles. So as I come down into that squat, I want to make sure everything is in a straight alignment right there. Okay, so then keeping my core engaged, sucking my belly button to that back, that then activates my back muscles as well to keep everything in alignment. As I come back up to the top, I'm going to push through my heels, bring my hips forward, and squeeze my glutes at the top. Everyone wants a little bit more glute activation when they're doing squats. That's one of the biggest reasons why we do them in the first place. So don't sell yourself short on that one. As you come down into your squat and you're coming back up to the top, bringing those hips forward, squeezing your glutes at the top. Another thing we want to be aware of as you come down into your squat is to make sure that your knees stay facing forward. Sometimes when people come down into their squats, their knees will go either outward or inward. So as they're coming down, you see that their knees are pushing out or coming in and you see this, okay? So again, focusing on keeping your knees in line with your toes as you come down. Now you can focus on pushing your knees slightly out. We don't want it so far to where now our weight is shifted onto the outside of our feet. Another common mistake that sometimes people do in a squat is as they come down into it, their knees either push really far out or come really close together. Okay? The reason why we don't want to do that is it shifts your weight now to either the inside or the outside of your feet. We want everything to be stable and balanced on those feet. So as you're coming down, try to keep your knees right in a line with your toes. Again, pushing those hips back and then standing back up. Another mistake that we see sometimes when people do squats is as you come down, your shoulders start to round forward. Now as we get older, this is kind of how we start to age. So we want to avoid that whenever possible as we lift. So by retracting your shoulders, keeping them down and back in that squat, we avoid that problem altogether. I'm going to give you a side view for this one to show you how people tend to round their shoulders forward when they come down into a squat. So I'm dropping my hips down And instead of keeping my shoulders down and back, it's just that natural feeling to kind of bring your shoulders forward. So we need to correct that by pushing those shoulders down and back. Again, activating those lats. You can have your hands in front of you, to the side of you, whatever's most comfortable in an air squat. But I like to keep them right in front and focus on keeping my chest tall, head facing forward. So from here, as I come down, then I'm keeping that core tight, back flat. Another thing I was taught in high school is that I needed to look up to push up a lot of weight in my squat. So coming down to the bottom, I have my weight on the back, and I'm looking up so I can push up towards the ceiling. But look what that does to my neck. Okay, so we want to make sure, again, always that everything's in alignment. So if I'm pushing my head up, now I'm not in a neutral spine. So I'm keeping everything facing forward, even if I have a heavy weight on my back, coming down in that squat, looking forward and staying forward. So now I'm giving you some tools that are going to help you perform a squat correctly without weights. You can do this anywhere. Now that you know what to do, hit the subscribe button. You'll see the little bell pop up, and now you'll get alerts every time we post a new video. We'll see you tomorrow.